comes about through a computer and in a virtual world where we are interacting through for financial purposes on financial apps, for social purposes on social media apps, and so on and so forth. In fact, all our offices are all computer, they are all IoT based. So you are connected to the world, you're connected to your colleagues, especially when we were doing work from home. Even today, there are a lot of people who do work from home. And it was not just the older generation. COVID ensured that even the younger generation, because schools were classes were conducted online. So the young generation, the children, they were also exposed to this human-computer interaction. Now, when you are exposed to this sort of an interaction, then you need to know how you can keep yourself safe, because when you're when you're online, then there are a lot of things that can happen to you, for which you need to be very careful. The other thing is, in a corporate environment also, there is a need to understand how to keep your system safe, your interactions with your colleagues stay safe, and your interactions with the computer safe. So what we have done is we categorize digital soft skills into two categories. One is for the general people who all the time are interacting on the web, in the virtual world, and then there is a certain category of people who require a human computer interface for their working purposes. Now, when we talk about this, we need to know how to keep ourselves safe. We use social media platforms. We use cloud for our data, and then we are exposed to a lot of things which we normally don't realize. For example, I can tell you, when you use a financial app, you normally use a two-factor authentication in the minimum. There are some apps allow you for multi-factor authentications. That is, one thing is you put in your password, then there's a OTP that comes. Many times there is a facial recognition that comes. Yeah, I'll just check whether I can share it. I don't know, yesterday it refused to let me allow me to do that. So I think there's something wrong with my.
Yes, your screen is visible. Just open.
Yeah, my screen is visible, but I can't draw my. Yeah, since yesterday it has stopped letting me.
So what you have to do is you open your presentation first. Means keep it open. And then when the screen share screen will come, no, so at that moment of time, that share that particular screen. 2-3 windows might be there, no, so that particular window you have to open.
Okay, I don't know. Earlier it used to do that. Since yesterday it has some sort of a problem. I think I'll have to reboot either my.
It's opening.
Yeah. Here I can see it. I don't know why I can't put it back into the.
So this is your presentation?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, yes. Security awareness.
Okay. Today it's working. Yesterday it simply refused to work. So this presentation is meant for small businesses. If you are into a small business, or if you are into if you're an entrepreneur, or in any case, if you're working in a corporate environment, what happens is you need to make your employees as well as your management cybersecurity savvy, because if there is a breach, if your data is stolen, or if there is a financial breach, if you're held to a ransomware, then what you lose is much, much higher than what you invest in making your employees. What you what you spend in making your employees cyber savvy. Now, why are employees supposed to be trained? Because they are the ones who will be handling instruments, computers or laptops, which are connected to your cloud, which are connected to your systems. Now, if an employee is not aware of how you need to interact with the systems, for example, if there is an email, you get emails on your official websites. And what happens is, if unfortunately you're not aware, if you click on links which contain spyware or malware, these can actually get into your systems, draw out data, and hold your company to ransom or steal your company's data. So what we normally say is that if the human, who is the weakest link in the entire security chain, because you can put in as many firewalls and as many systems in place so that your data, so that your system is secure. But the person sitting behind the computer, if that person is not careful enough, what can happen is your data can still be stolen. Spywares, malwares are capable of moving through firewalls and moving through your anti theft programs, and they can still move into your systems. So we normally recommend that both the management as well as the staff, both can have to be very careful, and they have to ensure that their data remains safe. They can be, as you can see in the PowerPoint presentation, they can be a data breach, they can be brand impersonation, they can be email, your business email can be compromised, there can be phishing, and there can be a lot of remote and hybrid workers who are sitting outside and will not be able to figure out whether there is a data breach in your system or not. So this is basically why we ensure in a corporate environment, and we teach corporates, inclusive of both the management as well as the employees, that there is a very strong need for you to ensure that everybody is aware and careful, that they follow certain norms to ensure that to ensure that your company is safe. There is something else that we can do that is basically for children. I'll open up one phone. Now, when we talk of children, why do we say that children are vulnerable? See, these days, all our children are using their mobiles to go on social media, to a large extent, even for this education, to a large extent, only even for financial transactions, because digital transactions are a norm these days. Now, what are cyber crimes? Cyber crimes are when what happens is your child or your system is made vulnerable, and they're victims of certain things. Now, what all can your child be a victim of? Your child can be a victim of email spoofing, because normally when they go to their school websites for the homework that they get, they're likely to click on certain emails or certain links that come in emails, which may not be actually from their school, and they're too young to understand that these are not the actual emails from the schools. There are websites which are created, which appear like your school email website, but there is a little difference, and the child may not actually be able to figure out. So when they click on these links, if there's a link to a certain homework or to a certain assignment, what happens is these links will put in a spyware or a malware into your computer, which could actually pick out either your data or your entire identity. Now, the other thing that can happen is when they are on social media, there is something called social engineering that takes place. What is social engineering? In social engineering is that when a certain group tries to influence the younger lot or on social media their own ideology. Now, since it is not done very explicitly, the child may not really figure out that it is being pushed to the thought process is being pushed in a certain direction. But what happens is, if the child gets to see the same things over and over again, it might start believing that this is the truth or this is the right thing. The next thing that can happen is your child can be a victim of cyberbullying. We've seen bullying in schools or colleges as a physical thing. Cyberbullying takes it to another level, as in a group of children are continuously badgering your child on maybe WhatsApp or on Instagram or on Facebook, and ensuring that your child is feeling overwhelmed by whatever is being said against him. This can lead to a lot of depression, anxiety. There are cases of suicidal tendencies in case of cyberbullying. But the next thing that can happen is an identity theft, is in the sense that if your child's photographs or of the voice clips are available on social media, these can be, these days through artificial intelligence tools, they can be downloaded, they can be remixed, and a different sort of video can be made, which can be misused. What else can happen? Your Aadhaar card or your date of birth certificates, these can be downloaded if there is a malicious ware in your computer, and this can be misused for taking SIM cards or for any other purposes which is without your permission. So these are identity thefts. Banking frauds and job frauds are for a little older children who are looking around for jobs. But banking frauds can actually happen even when your child is using when your child is using your general banking apps, as in even if your child is using something like GPay, or your child is using something like so when your child is using financial apps, even at that point of time, a lot of frauds can take place. These days, there are a lot of frauds which also come in through job opportunities, work from home. There are a lot of there are mails that you or messages that you get on WhatsApp saying that just like a YouTube or a Instagram photograph and you'll start earning money. And this further on leads to further on they'll ask you for money. And these job opportunities which are there. These are not actually online job opportunities. These are just fake places where your child gets entangled. Now, if a say 11th, 12th standard child feels that if I spend half an hour or 1 hour on these sort of online platforms and I can earn money, it's an incentive for them. But then this further on leads to they're asking you for money for investment. So there are a lot of things that happen in the cyber world which we need to understand. First of all, we need to know that these sort of things happens, and we need to make our children as well as the rest of the family aware that these sort of things happen. So what we do is, there are two parts that we generally train people in. One is for the general civilians who require to know, first of all, because as prevention is here, so what we do is we create awareness of all the sorts of vulnerabilities that you are susceptible to. Then unfortunately, if you are already a victim of cybercrime, then the crime has already occurred. So then what we do is we help you to lodge a case with the cybercrime police. We help you to gather the evidence. And since there is a lot of trauma that is associated with the cybercrime, we ensure that there's a hand-holding and counseling that happens so that you can come out of that phase. This is basically for cybercrimes that happen to general civilians. And when we go into a corporate world, then the scenario is very different. Then it goes into forensics. If as such, first of all, prevention is better than cure. So we create awareness of what safe cyber practices are when you are working on a computer. The next point we go to is if unfortunately something happens, then we ensure that we can go into the forensics and try to find out who's the person who has committed a mistake or has been the person who's the responsible for the same. But the investigative part, no, we do not do that because that is a little more complicated, and we have people who we know who can get it done for you. We can find out where the whole data has gone. I think that's all from my side. If there are any questions, any specifics that anybody would like to know, we are open for.
Okay. It was really a wonderful session, ma'am. I have few doubts. First, I'll ask, and then others also, they must be having few doubts and queries. So
Yes, sure.
what do you suggest, like if the kids get explored to such a certain kind of fraud or wherever they might have stuck somewhere because of just unknowingly they might have clicked somewhere. So how to actually overcome such kind of situation if anybody is stuck in that case?
If you're a victim of cybercrime, the first thing that you need to do is never ever destroy the evidence. Keep your evidence with yourself. Because obviously, if you interacted with somebody, there must be some sort of evidence that there has been an interaction. If there is a financial fraud, there must be some sort of a financial transaction. If there is bullying or something, there must be chats or posts that you know that you can keep as proof. So the first thing that you do is, because it's a tendency for people to delete all these things, please kindly don't delete any of the evidence. Yes, the cybercrime police can go back and retrieve it, but it takes a longer time. It's much more easier if you can give them the evidence yourself. So first thing is keep your evidence safe. Keep screenshots, keep download all whatever you can. So those things are to be kept safely. The second thing is there is a national portal for cybercrime. There is a state portal for cybercrime. You can go and register a case there. After that, you need to register a proper FIR against the perpetrator of the crime in your local police station. This ensures that there is an investigation that goes on into whatever has happened. Now, if you feel that your child is overwhelmed by this situation, then as of now, there are quite a few cyber psychologists around, not as many as we would like to be, but because it's a newly upcoming field. So since cyberspace is a new, comparatively new concept, so cyber psychology counselors is also a comparatively new concept, but there are still cyber psychology counselors who can help your child to overcome these difficulties, these traumatic experiences.
Okay. And definitely, it's a very good input, ma'am. And it's not only for kids; it may happen with the like female with us also.
Yeah, it can happen. In fact, when it happens to a lady, what happens is she gets affected and the entire family gets affected.
Right.
So when I say children because I believe that children are the most vulnerable. It is very difficult to make your child understand the nuances of these crimes. For a older person, at least the person understands the nuances of the crime. It is not as if older people don't get victimized, but yes, at least they understand. The trauma is the same, and the counseling is the same, because everybody feels overwhelmed by these sort of things happening to them.
Right. Yes. If anyone wants to ask any question, we are open for question. किसी को कुछ पूछना है regarding cyber frauds and cyber crime? Also, we have seen a few things. So, if you would like to ask anything, please ask. I hope सबको समझ में आया आज का टॉपिक क्या था?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have a question. Like, first of all, whenever somebody falls into this type of, incident, so what should the person do?
Yeah, as I said, if you are a victim of cybercrime, the first thing that you do is you keep your evidence safe,
Yes.
as in
Yes.
whatever transactions, verbal transactions cannot be recorded, but whatever you have on, if it is a financial transaction, then you need to keep that. You have to download all the financial transactions that you have made, any chats, any posts, anything that you can prove that such a transaction took place. All that evidence you need to keep it safe, download it, screenshot it, whichever ways, but that evidence has to be kept safe because it has to be presented to the cybercrime police. Then there is a website. When you log into the cybercrime website, it will give you a lot of options, and then you need to choose which of the cybercrime is you're a victim of. They'll ask you to upload your documents. That's when your evidence comes in place. You upload your
Okay,
documents
so
proving that
so
you were
through website
victimized.
only we have to complain, lodge the complaint through website
Yeah,
only.
first you'll complain through the website. The second thing you do is you put a proper FIR in your local police station. If
Okay.
it's a financial one, then you need to go to your bank and raise a dispute with your bank saying that this transaction is disputed. The bank may not be able to do much, but it will give you a paper saying that this is a disputed transaction so that the cybercrime police or the local police can block that account so that your money remains safe. There is a, with financial ones, there is a time gap. Within 72 hours of your being victimized, you need to go and lodge a complaint because post that, neither the police nor the bank will be able to stop the transaction.
Okay. And then after the follow-ups, like
Yeah,
what?
the follow-ups, the police will automatically ask you to come, and if they need any additional evidence, they'll ask you to come and give the additional evidence. And you can keep in touch with the, on the cybercrime portal, you'll get a token number. So you can keep following up as to the progress of your case. If it's in the
Yes.
local police station, then you can ask whoever is the investigating officer and keep in touch with that person so that he'll keep telling you what where the investigation has.
Yeah, so this thing was happened like few years back. One of my relative got had such an incident, like in which they just called on phone, and by calling phone, I mean on phone, they have just told them told her to put some digits, and that is how the amount was debited from her account. So immediately, they we came to know that, like, that lady came to know that from my account some money is debited, and suddenly then she also filed a complaint in police and cybercrime and everything, and all the evidences and everything was done. But then after nothing happen, like continuous
No,
they
but
were in
as I
touch.
said, yes, once you do the initial part, then you need to follow it up with the police because normally the police will not come back to you. They have a lot of cases, so
Yes,
you
yes,
need to
yes.
pursue your own.
She continuously was in touch with
Yeah.
them certain period of time, like till 6 months. Then after 1 year, they have just came with some amount, like hardly some 10,000 is recovered. You can come and collect it, and that is how she got. But like it was a big, huge amount, and it could not. I mean, came back.
Yeah. So normally what happens is if unfortunately the amount that has gone to the next account where you have credited, where it got credited, if that could not have been stopped, it takes almost 3 days for it to be debited. When it is debited into your account, to get credited into the next account, it takes around 72 hours. So prior to that, if your bank has, if there is a dispute raised with your bank can connect with the bank in which the amount is to be credited and stop the payment. But if the time period goes beyond that, once the money is shifted into the next account, the chances of recovery is a little less.
Because it was done within 3 days time. Everything was done within 3 days time,
Okay.
But still, she could not recover the entire amount. It was just part amount, like very small amount came back. So I mean, that is why I wanted to just know ki, what is the actual process, how we should go, and this was what the process she also followed, but nothing would happen. So now, right now, what is the ratio? I mean, are the cybercrime police able to resolve all these issues nowadays?
See, all the issues in any case cannot get resolved because the number of, looking at the number of cybercrime, financial frauds that are taking place, they are huge. So all of them will
Okay.
not get resolved, but they try and do their level best because they also do not want their reputation to go bad as in nahi ho rahe. So as far as possible and whenever as uh, uh, as much as they can, they try their level best to recover them.
Okay, so the ratio is now increased. I mean, a little bit from last
Yeah,
few years.
basically initially the cybercrime police strength, the strength of the cyber cell was also not very high. Now, since the number of cyber crimes have increased, so their strength is also increasing. They're bringing in technical people because earlier general staff used to go in. So it used to become a little difficult for them to understand how to go about that because cybercrime is a very technical area. So understanding was a little difficult. Training them was a little difficult. So now what they do is for the cyber cell, they bring in technically trained people so that they can these issues can be resolved fast.
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you so much.
Neeta ma'am,
Thank you.
prevention is better than cure. ऐसे चीजें करो ही मत, किसी पे क्लिक मत करो, ऐसे
नहीं, I have not done anything. मेरे साथ नहीं हुआ है, experience एक close relative के साथ हुआ है ना, तो that's how I
Basically, here what
told
I would say is, can I intervene? हमने जो OTP नाम की चीज आती है या पिन नाम की चीज आती है, ये किसी और को नहीं बतानी है. That's a basic that you will not see if you give the keys of your lock to somebody else. Then if you say that person has robbed it, I think we are at a little fault. Yes, I agree that ab ho hi gaya, so it is the duty of the police to take action. But as far as possible, every time remember your PIN, your OTPs are the keys into your financial systems. So never give it out to somebody else. Don't allow somebody else to use that.
This normally happens with the old age people, you know, mainly.
Right.
And that lady was also old. She could not understand how, you know, tactfully, I mean, this thing was done. So that was really bad. But
yeah,
still,
that happens.
you know, we can always, I mean, take care of all
which
these
is
things.
why we always ensure that we create which is why we create awareness. Our awareness program is much more stronger. We prefer to have a stronger awareness program rather than a counseling program. Because अगर a crime होने से आप बचा सकते हो, तो you also save yourself from the trauma that you go through. Money that you lose, the amount of time that you spend in trying to recover it, you are going through a lot of mental stress. So preferably, emphasis तो is always on the awareness part. But unfortunately, अगर हो ही गया तो फिर क्या करते हैं? फिर we need we try to prevent an accident. If there is an accident, then we give a treatment, right?
Right. Yes. और किसी को कुछ पूछना है?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
ठीक.
Yes, Rati. पूछो.
या मैम, मेरे साथ में हुआ था, छोटा सा था, बट आई कंप्लेन ऑन द साइबर क्राइम वेबसाइट. तो वहां से मुझे वो लोग कुछ अमाउंट पे करने के लिए बोल रहे थे. मैंने वहां कंप्लेन डाली थी.
Cybercrime website.
यस मैम, मैंने कंप्लेन
Cybercrime
डाली.
website will not ask you to deposit any amount.
यस मैम, दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग टू यू. मैं तभी आपको बोल रही हूँ ये वाला इशू कि मैंने कंप्लेंट डाला था, FIR भी डाला था. तो दे वर सेइंग कि आपको अगर अपनी कंप्लेंट आगे बढ़ानी है तो आपको कुछ अमाउंट पे करना पड़ेगा. तो मैंने कहा कि हाँ, मुझे पे करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं, who do you have to pay to?
That website, to that website. तो वो बोल रहे थे कि
the cybercrime website does not require any payments. So either you got into the wrong website or something.
आई डोंट नो मैम. मैंने तो काफी अच्छे से सर्च करके जो उसमें सारा डिटेल दिया था, काफी फेक भी नहीं लग रही थी एक्चुअली वेबसाइट, बट मैंने जब
No, because the
FIR भी डाला था,
cybercrime website will never ask you to make any payments for anything. Their services, police services are obviously free. We are the taxpayers. We already pay them for their salary. So they will not ask you to pay money
that
for
was quite
doing an
surprising.
investigation. Right.
Yes.
So I
Uh,
presume that the website that you logged into was not incorrect.
यस मैम, मैंने मना कर दिया कि नहीं, मुझे एक्चुअली मेरा इतना ज्यादा मनी का नहीं था, लेकिन मैं चाहती थी कि वो जो जिसने भी मेरे साथ में किया है वो दोबारा किसी के साथ ना करे, दैट्स व्हाई आई लॉस्ट द कंप्लेंट।
Yeah,
तो
that's true.
FIR भी
And
किया,
Mhm.